Welcome back, D-Traders. Let's discuss a red-hot market review by InstaForex analysts. Wall Street indexes closed with a modest growth on a Wednesday, and the New York session unfolded sluggishly because investors were shocked by the worst session in the last 2 years. Nevertheless, the benchmark stock indexes perked up in the late New York session. The Dow Jones closed with a 0.1% uptick, the Nasdaq rose 0.74%, and the S&P500 was 0.34% up to close at 3,946 points. The key indexes traded mixed in the pre-market, suggesting another sluggish session ahead. Fresh macroeconomic data cheered up Wall Street. The S&P 500 is likely to trade in the intraday corridor between 3,980 and 3,970 points. The stock indexes opened with the gains on a Wednesday in the light of the factory inflation data. The US PPI slipped 0.1% in August, in line with the market expectations. Nevertheless, the CPI left a bitter aftertaste on a Tuesday, so optimism faded away quickly. The benchmark indexes printed minor growth in the late session. The stock market found support from the energy sector and some companies. Starbucks shares surged 5.5% because the company upgraded its sales and revenue forecast for 3 years ahead. Tesla shares grew 3.6% because President Joe Biden announced that the government aid worth $900 million for building charging stations for electric vehicles. Today, futures on the US stock indexes are trading quietly. Investors alert the series of macroeconomic data to clear up further policy moves of the Federal Reserve. Some macroeconomic data has been mixed today. Investors welcomed US retail sales, which increased 0.3% in August, following a 0.4% decline in July, and analysts had predicted the zero growth. Retail sales, excluding gasoline, rose 0.8%. The core retail sales without gasoline, cars, building materials and food remained flat. On the minus side, Philadelphia Manufacturing Index slumped to minus 9.9 in September, following a 6.2 in August. The actual reading fell short of expectations for 2.8. The current activity index went to the negative territory, and the new orders index remained negative. The shipment also declined but remained positive. Companies reported on rising employment. The price index indicates further inflation acceleration. In this context, market foresees a 73% chance of the nearest rate hike by 75 basis points, and the bets on the rate hike by 100 basis points are measured at 27%. The stocks of high-tech companies such as Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta traded in the red in the New York pre-market, and the stocks of large railroad companies, Union Pacific and CSX, surged 5% each after American rates and trade unions had made a preliminary deal to prevent a halt with the food and supplies to the United States. The currency market is trading with a muted dynamic today, and the US dollar index is trading in a narrow range but at elevated levels. At the moment of preparing material for this video, the index is trading at 109.70 and the intraday corridor is seen between 109.30 and 109.90. The US currency is extending the most rapid rally since 1984, though the index has hit pause on the rally today. The global outlook is bullish. Expectations for the Fed's sharp rate hike next week pushed the US dollar up against the yen. The euro also slipped below the parity level with the greenback, and the pound sterling weakened considerably in the last months amid worries about the financial stability in the United Kingdom. So remarkably, the US dollar index has strengthened 14.9% since the beginning of the year, a bit weaker than in 1984. The catalyst for the greenback's rally is a global uncertainty and the hawkish Federal Reserve. A weekly update on the US labor market proves that the regulator has enough leverage in further policy moves. The number of initial unemployment claims fell to 213,000 last week, 5,000 lower from the previous week. Analysts had projected an increase of 8,000 last week. Unlike other currency pairs, the USD CAD pair is trading robustly today. The instrument is trading higher amid the from greenback. The currency pair is trading at 1.3200 at the moment of recording this video. The intraday corridor is seen between 1.3170 and 1.3240. Apart from the firm US dollar, the loonie is wound down by falling oil prices. Crude oil is trading lower for the whole day. Price took a nosedive in the early New York session. Investors are pondering over the prospects of a slowdown in the global economy and the low demand due to dwindling supply. Disruption in supplies by Russia, the major global oil exporter, as well as the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan triggered jitters in the oil market. Brent crude futures stumbled 3.24% and traded at $91.01 a barrel. Market sentiment is also mixed in the crypto market today. Most tokens are trading in the red amid a waning appetite for risky assets. However, Bitcoin is an exception. The flagship crypto is showing strong performance for the whole day. The token has been able to recover to $20,110 today. Ethereum is under the spotlight. Co-founder of the crypto project Vitalik Buterin announced that Ethereum blockchain had completed its long-awaited merge upgrade early Thursday, and it's the most ambitious overhaul. In the last 7 years, Ethereum jumped 2.2% repeatedly after the announcement. Bitcoin is expected to trade in the corridor between $19,800 and $20,400 today. To sum up, Wall Street is overwhelmed by mixed sentiment due to a high degree of uncertainty. Make profits with the InstaForex and see you online tomorrow.